Okay, so we need to kind of split chapter 18 into two separate parts. The first one would be discussing the Grangerfords and the Shepherdsons. These are two families that have been in a feud for a really long time. So we learn from Buck, Huck's new friend, who they're the same age, and he is, excuse me, and he's a Grangerford, and that's who Huck is kind of living with right now. Well, Sophia is a 20-year-old girl living in the house. It would be a sister of Buck, and she finds Huck and says, "Hey, could you do me a favor? I left my Bible at church. I really need you to go get it. I really, really, really need it." And Huck's, he's no dummy. He's like, I've never seen somebody be so distraught that they forgot their Bible at church. You can just get it the next week. So he goes to the church, he gets it for everybody, makes sure to go through it, and he sees a little piece of paper in there that says 2:30. He's like, oh, that's weird. And then he gives it to Sophia, and clearly she's really enthusiastic, really happy to get that. Well, it turns out that was to meet up with a Shepherdson, and she runs away with a Shepherdson. So kind of like a Romeo Juliet type thing. And then a little later on in the chapter, the gun fight breaks out, and two Grangerfords die. You'll have to read to see which ones they are, but Huck actually is hiding and watching and witnesses the gunfight and sees the two Grangerfords die, and that is really, really, really difficult for him. He's about 13 at this point, and that was really hard for him. So that's kind of one angle of this chapter. The other part of this chapter that's really important is that Jim saw that night when they got separated because the raft got smashed by the steamboat. He saw where Huck ended up and followed him there. He just got a little hurt, so he was a lot slower. Well, he'd been hiding with the Grangerford slaves. They had him hid in kind of the swampy area where it was all covered by brushes and stuff. And so when the time was right, one slave came and found George, aka Huck, and took him to where Jim was, and they find each other. So after he sees two people get killed due to guns, he sees the people that he really liked die, he said, yeah, I need to get out of here. Turns out Jim had found the raft and had fixed it up. So they get on the raft that night after they see that this whole war take place with the Grangerfords and the Shepherdsons, and he thinks that they'll just assume that he died in the conflict and went floating down the river, and they won't worry about him anymore. So him and Jim are reunited, and they are heading back down the river on the raft. Still no canoe, but they at least have their raft and each other. So that concludes chapter 18. Check back for chapter 19 later. Thank you.